Hello. It is Rivalry Week on the Salute to Troy. It is the Bet Online Salute to Troy podcast. We got the full staff here. And please excuse the beeping in the back. Jamal's missing a battery in his phone.
You guys all heard that, didn't you? Driving me insane all day, this thing.
Because you have something on me, so I had to get you back. So we'll call it even now. We'll call it even now. We got the full crew here. We'll go around the horn. We have the man, the myth, the legend himself, the CEO. That is Mr. Ryan Dyrud. How are you doing today, Ryan?
My man, what's up, Coach Rowe? I'm doing good. Happy Thursday to you. Happy Friday to all of our listeners, and excited to talk about the greatest rivalry in college sports.
There we go. We have the mad scientist, the man who could split an atoms 35 times and then put it back together. Jamal, the madman Magdy. How are you doing today, Jamal?
Doing well, Coach. Great to see you as always, and always a pleasure to have this discussion. So great to see you.
And then we have the fan favorite, the one you guys always request. If she's missing on the show, we hear it in the comments.
The ratings take a nosedive. They take a nosedive without Candace.
Where's Candace? Well, we got her here on Rivalry Week. We got to chat last week. It's the queen of LAFB. It's Miss Candace Davis Price. How are you doing, Candace?
Very well, very well.
And we also have a special guest from the west side of LA, Crenshaw High School. We can't say it because we're on the radio. I was about to say something about the ends. But we're on the radio. Crenshaw High School itself, UCLA guy. We always bring guys behind enemy lines. Mr. Brian Price, how you doing, Brian?
What's
BP,
up?
what's going on?
All right, everybody, let's get an A clap.
Yes.
we don't do that. So we don't do that. So, guys, it's here. We're excited about it. It's the most exciting rivalry that we have, right? And nationwide, it's not really known. And like one of the things I do want to address, like a lot of people, Jamal mentioned it too, and then I had to remind him. He was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." And BP probably could attest to this too. Game's at 12:30, right? And this game is always ever since I was a kid. USC UCLA plays at 12:30. Daytime game. Like it's the 12:30 game. I remember Reggie and Matt playing at 12:30. I played at 12:30. It's the game that's in the middle of the afternoon, the biggest rivalry in college sports, in my opinion. And so I'm thinking this game is played at 12:30 because this is the last time it's played in the Pac-12. You know what I mean? And it's just only my speculation. Like this is the last time it's played in the Pac-12. So they're like, what other way to do it than to have them play at 12:30 like they traditionally played at 12:30? The only issue with it is that it's the 7-4 Trojans and the 6-5 Bruins playing each other. It would be a lot better if it was. It would be a lot better if it was the undefeated Trojans and probably like the 8-2 Bruins, right? But we're not.
Fred, I love how you've already hung another loss on UCLA. It's the 7-4 Trojans against the 6-4 Bruins.
6-4.
You got
I apologize.
That loss already. My goodness.
I apologize.
Unconscious bias here, ladies and gentlemen. That is
Jamal. I apologize. I followed bad football this year. I just don't follow really bad football. So
no.
I don't know the record. So
he also does a 9 clap instead of an 8 clap.
So that's how it is. Before we get deep into this thing and really start talking about it, let's get to Ryan. He was in Coach Riley's interview. Let's get the Stone Brewery coaches report. Ryan, what did Coach Riley say in his Thursday interview?
Yeah, so I'll have transcriptions up on lfbnetwork.com here in a bit, but nothing real crazy. Most asked about, about Caleb Williams. Is this going to be his last game? Have you guys talked about the bowl game? And so we just talked about, memories with Caleb and what he's meant to the program and, him taking a chance on leaving OU and that. So not super deep stuff. Question asked about, the DC, and basically he said, that's priority number one. We want to make that hire as quick as possible. So I would not be shocked at all if they make that hire next week after this game. They kind of have that benefit of having the bye after the season. So just reiterated that they do want to move very fast. And Yeah, basically made it sound like, I'm not trying to put words or anything, but made it sound like they are hiring not within the staff. It'll be someone else. So I think that's obviously good for everyone to hear. And then I just asked him, we talked about it last night, but I asked him about, this rivalry. He's played in, the Bedlam game, played in the River Classic between Texas and OU, and last year was his first year in the Victory Bell. So I asked him kind of, how does this compare to some of those rivalries? And then also as a coaching staff, do they, with the transfer portal era, do they do anything as a coaching staff to kind of instill those traditions, or they lean on their veteran players? So kind of like what we talked about yesterday, it worked out perfect to go into that. So, I thought he talked about how he's learned very quickly, saw how great of a rivalry this is. He brought up what we've talked about, the fact they're only separated by 12 miles or whatever. Like no other rivalry has that. And he said it's so special. And last year it was such a cool moment. And he said the thing that I can't remember who said it, but we've said it a bunch, but he's like, the other thing that makes this rivalry so great is you play in two iconic venues, the Rose Bowl and the LA Coliseum. Like,
that was me. That was me.
Yeah.
Was me.
Other stadiums are great, but like, it's not the Rose Bowl and the Coliseum, and you play in one of those every year. Sure. And then he said that they actually do, as a coaching staff, since he's been here, they do some education on the rivalry. He's like, we don't like go deep, but we do some classroom stuff on just like what this rivalry means, some of the history of the game. But outside of that, they do rely more on, the veteran players who have played in the game, such as Calen Bullock and Justin Dedich and whatnot. So not a crazy, last game of the season. So nothing crazy, but that was the gist of the Lincoln Riley practice report. Brought to you by Stone Brewery.
Yep. Go to your local vendor, get you a fight on Pale Ale, but brought to you by Stone Brewery. So moving forward, Battle of Victory Bell. Just a reminder, the Victory Bell is painted cardinal right now. Just a reminder, if we want to get to the history of the game, it is painted cardinal right now. So
give it. Hey, Coach, have Jamal give us the history of the Victory Bell. What it is right now. It's a good.
I was just about to go into that. Yeah. So Jamal, can you tell us about the history of the Victory Bell, and then I will explain what happens at USC with the Trojan. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, it's such a special rivalry, and I think one of the elements about kind of the history of the Victory Bell ties into what Ryan said. When you can have two schools that are just separated by 12 miles, it's just a quick drive on the 10 freeway. You can do all kinds of really fun and interesting things with each other. And so the Victory Bell was actually a gift by the UCLA Alumni Association in 1936 to the university. And so it was meant to be kind of where the J.D. Morgan Center is today and sort of sit there. And then mysteriously, it got stolen and was lost and missing for over a year. And it turns out that USC students came in and stole the Victory Bell. And so then the student governments and the administration of both schools came together and had a meeting and agreed that this would be, the Victory Bell would be what the two schools would play for in the annual football game. So lots of fun history in that regard.
Yeah. So and we'll have BP speak on this one too, because he was a student at UCLA. So I know, like, Victory Bell week, during Victory Bell week, they wrap the Trojan up in duct tape, but they have like a group of 5 people, and I don't remember the name of the group. They sit out there from Sunday to Sunday and protect the Trojan, right? 24-hour shifts. They sit out there from Sunday to Sunday to protect the Trojan. Rumor has it that a while ago, a helicopter came over top of the Trojan and dropped blue paint on the Trojan. And ever since then, they started duct taping it, and they have those guys out there protect the Trojan. And I don't know for sure or not, but I think we were talking about Rick Caruso was a part of that group, so he was outside protecting the Trojan one time in his
they were called
years.
The Trojan Knights, Fred. The
Trojan Knights. There you go. The Trojan Knights. That's right. They wear like the sun hats, and then they have like the SC Hawaiian shirts on. They wear khaki pants, and it's cold out here right now. So good luck to those dudes. Good luck to those dudes. So BP, what is it like on campus at UCLA the week of Victory Bell week?
They put the bear like in this big box, like he's hibernating, and lock it up, because usually people throw a cardinal paint all over it and do strange stuff like that. But they like hanging the Tommy Trojan the news. I know you guys do that too. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, like the pep rallies and stuff like that. I focus on the game, because I like hitting you guys in your mouth, so that's the kind of positions I like getting into.
Spoken like the true 2009 Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year right there, Fred.
Unanimously voted.
Yes.
There you go. So and I'll start with this, and then we'll shoot around. So we'll get into like our memories of this game, right? And so I have two memories of this game. One memory is we're the number 2 team in the nation. We go into the Rose Bowl. We're overlooking. We're planning to play in the national championship for the 3rd straight year. Looking to play, I think we'd end up playing Tim Tebow in Florida that year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Jamal, you can fact check me later. But I think it was Tim Tebow.
It was going to be Ohio State, Fred.
Okay.
The Gators got in because SC lost.
Oh, there you go. So we would have played Ohio State in Arizona, so it would have been a home game for us because that was like the first time they actually had the national championship game. They didn't have a BCS national champion like you had to play for the national championship. It was like the first national championship game. We are overlooked it. We go into the Rose Bowl, lose 13-9. We're driving down. We're on like the 15-yard line. JD has a wide-ass open Patrick Turner on a slant for a touchdown, throws the ball, jumps up, ball gets tipped, interception. We lose. We end up playing in the Rose Bowl that year, finishing first, still finished first in the Pac-10, played in the Rose Bowl that year. We beat Michigan, Jake Long in Michigan that year. The second year is in the Coliseum, and that was our get-back game, right? It was like we were already out of the national championship. We already had 2 losses. We were just pissed off, right? And we just was like, all right, they got to come see us. So they came and saw us, and we pretty much just laid it on them, went on Rose Bowl champions. So that's what I remember about the game. We'll go to BP. What do you remember? What are some of your memories that you remember about playing this game?
First play of the game, hitting CJ Gable, fumble, we get the ball back, just making plays and just the intensity though. Like, that week was just always intense, and it was just fun for me playing against SC because of the recruiting process. Pete Carroll and I remember Coach Norton came to my house to recruit me, and it was like, "Oh, if you don't come here, I mean, you're scared to compete and you're scared to play with the best." And that was part of the reason I went to UCLA, and I'd never been to that part of town before, and I just loved the campus when I saw it, and it would just give me a chance to play against USC every year. But SC was my first choice. Like I was a fan, but they were just stacking a lot of talent, and I wasn't fearful of that. I knew I could play anywhere, but I knew that I like playing against great people, and so I just don't want to be beating up on people. I'm more like David versus Goliath. You know what I mean?
I guarantee you this. I could guarantee you this right now. If T-Mac would have walked in your house, you'd have been like, "Yep, I'm going to SC." Without a doubt. If T-Mac would have walked in there, you'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going to SC." Guaranteed.
I met him a few times, but,
yeah.
Real cocky over there, I played at Crenshaw, so you had to be humble, coach, playing for Coach Garrett, and that's just how I was raised, and I just worked hard. Well, I had to learn to work hard first, I hated it, but that was the foundation. My foundation was South Central, playing at Crenshaw, and so going to UCLA, it was way different, and SC was right up the street. It was in the hood, it's like campus is trash, it's like it's real ghetto over there,
The education's way better though. Jamal, what's your memory of that on Victorville?
Well, what's so fun too, Fred, is again, because these two schools are so close in proximity. I mean, look at Candace and Brian, house divided. I mean, I went undergrad to one school, grad school to another, and it just there's actually so much kind of interlinking between the two schools because they're so close in proximity. To me, Fred, that you mentioned kind of a number of great games, and there've been some such iconic moments. But I got to go back to that 96 game. That 96 game, the only game that was in overtime, and that was the year that RJ Soward was going crazy at SC, and SC was up like 20 points with 5 minutes to go in that game, and then at UCLA frantically comes back, forces overtime, and then Skip Hicks scores a touchdown in triple overtime, 48-41. So that was one that I always remembered in my youth as growing up, and just kind of beyond that, just the epic kind of Matt and Reggie years, and then you mentioned 13-9, and then Hundley had such a great run, and then just kind of been back and forth, and really the last few years, the games have been so close. Last year it was SC by a whisker. The year before was a competitive game, and just incredible rivalry.
Good deal. Candace, what do you remember about this game?
I mean, obviously, I have a way different perspective. Brian always reminds me when I'm wearing USC and doing USC stuff, you didn't play football there. You didn't play football there. You didn't play football there. So
I don't sound like
me neither. It's okay.
You didn't play. Well, okay. My perspective, it was always fun, an opportunity to drag that bear around on the beach, the Schwinn bike.
On your beach cruiser, yep.
On my beach cruiser, because I'm from Michigan. I didn't know what that beach cruiser was. And it's December, and I'm wearing Ugg boots and shorts. So it's a totally different element than even what's about to happen here this weekend. And it was always fun. And I remember, oh my gosh, I keep feeling really old, but we won all the time. So
that's why.
That's all I
had. Don't play there because we won. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't do nothing.
I speak French. So I mean, it's playful, and then I, as an athlete, saw the guys all the time, but then I got an awakening when I first started dating Brian, and he came to USC with me, and they really was like feeling some type of way when they heard it, and then when they saw him, they was like, BP, what up, the neighborhood legend, blah blah blah. And I was like, y'all soft. So I mean, that's always been pretty fun for us because it hasn't. I think it's because of who he is. He's always really well and welcome. It's not any, it's playful blood. But now us being in a town that's going to be a huge Big Ten potential rival for us, and having a whole human named Bruin has created a whole new element in our house.
I got you, Ryan. Ryan, do you have any memories of the USC UCLA game?
Oh yeah.
I mean, your backstory about LA football is great. Like, you guys didn't have football, but you always went to either SC or UCLA games. So I'm pretty sure you've been to plenty of rivalries. So you have any? What memory of the games stick out to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I remember the parties were great during that week. Great parties during that week. We would go from Long Beach to Westwood or to USC's campus and have a good time. So that was always fun. I was in Long Beach 08 to 12. I think the 08 year was a riveting matchup of Matt Barkley and Kevin Kraft, if I'm not mistaken. Just a not very good quarterback for UCLA, and I think USC won 28-7 or something like that. They won like 3 years straight, and that's when Hundley came in, and then they won a few for UCLA. But such a fun rivalry. Even I didn't go to the schools. Like, even Long Beach is only 10 miles south of USC. I mean, we were close to, and we knew kids that went to USC, and a lot of people that lived in Long Beach had friends at SC, so we knew people or friends at UCLA, so we'd go all over the place. The church I went to, Matt Barkley went to our church, so I'd see him on Sundays all the time. So it's just, it's so intertwined. I think that's what makes it so special. Even growing up in Colorado, Colorado State and CU Boulder it's a fun rivalry, but it's still a solid, hour and a half, 2 hours apart. And you still, you grew up going to high school and there's still that connection, but it's not the same proximity of what in one city in LA. So a lot of good memories of not necessarily being at the schools, but still partying at the schools, drinking with players and stuff, and having a good time.
So this is the greatest thing about the rivalry. And I don't think you don't have this with any rivalry you had before. Like, when I played, right? So when I played, went to Long Beach Poly High School, I played with Terrence Austin, right? I went to USC, Terrence Austin went to UCLA. But we were teammates. We won championship games together. You know what I mean? Like, there was people, Stephon Johnson went to Dorsey. There's people from Dorsey that played at UCLA that are teammates, right? BP went to Crenshaw. There's dudes that went to Crenshaw that went to USC. There's dudes at Crenshaw that went to UCLA. It could be a family. Yeah.
Frosty went to high school with Deshaun Foster, and then Foster.
Yeah,
went to
that's
UCLA,
one. Yeah,
Frosty went to USC. It's like,
they're both from Tustin. Like the family members, cousins, people you grew up playing Pop Warner with, right? Or like people even like I'll bring back an old one for the LA people, King Conference people you grew up when King Conference was a thing playing Pop Warner, and then like all of a sudden like, oh yeah, I played with him in King Conference, but he goes to UCLA, we're at USC. Like you create that. Like there's no other rivalry that I think has that close connection. You know what I mean? Like it's legit. Like it's a family affair. It's like big brother, little brother, or even if they we won't offend the UCLA people. It's like two brothers battling something out. You know what I mean? So it like you finally get that chance. Like, all right, here's my chance. We're gonna have it. We're gonna make it happen. We get one shot every year. I'm gonna prove to you that I'm better than you. And so that's like the advantage of it is what I was gonna get into is now that we're going to the Big Ten. And like you said earlier, we're playing two iconic stadiums. So once a year, you're going to see a rivalry between two schools, primetime East Coast, and an iconic stadium. It's not going to be a bowl game. It's going to be legit a home game. It's either going to be in the Rose Bowl or it's going to be in the Coliseum, and you're going to see that game happen. I think that it will advance for recruiting, and I think that it will advance for the rivalry nationwide, and people understand, like, oh, these dudes really got something going on out there. You know what I mean? Like, for us, we know how big it is to us because we grew up in this area. But the nation kind of like, it's still California. You know what I mean? So for us, we know, and I think us going to the Big Ten and this game happening next year in the Big Ten is going to make it bigger and it's going to make the rivalry a lot much better. So that's something to think about. And
just to add to that real quick, and Candace, I know you can relate to this. Like, when I moved here, I was like, I didn't think the rivalry, like I knew about it. Obviously, I grew up, like I enjoyed both schools, but it was like, oh, cool. It's a cool rivalry. And then once you get here, you're like, okay, this is a big deal. But yeah, you don't hear about it outside of the confines of California as much, where I think now what you're saying, I totally agree. Jamal and I have talked about this all once the move happened a year and a half ago, is it's just going to be great for both brands to finally get, which is crazy to say, LA, the biggest media market in the world. And it's like, we're finally going to get the media exposure that is deserved, but I think it finally will.
Yeah, before you continue, Candace, I just want to let everybody know, listen on the Mightier 1090. Thank you for listening up. You know how it goes. Live free, fight on. Go Trojans. Another victory bell. Keep the victory bell at home. Hey, so
now just to touch on that. Yeah, completely. When I came, I was like, it's okay. But what's funny now is we have this son named Bruin, and then people are like, oh, that's so cute. You named him after a Bruin bear. And then my USC friends are like, what are you thinking? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, is your brain hurt? And I'm like, yeah, you know, or even out here, they're like, UCLA, that's in California, right? And it's so very different than, you know what I mean? So they have no clue, like, oh, you guys are rivals? And they're like, duh. So it is going to be a whole new element for sure.
I don't know why they're mad about the Bruin name. I mean, it fits with the Trojan story, you know, like they're hiding in a Trojan horse, so we had a Bruin hiding in a Trojan. You know?
I mean, you could always say that, but we got to understand that the Cal Bears
history major.
Actually,
nice.
Cal Bears is actually Cal Bears is actually a bear, and then they came up with another school and they named it UCLA, and the Bruin is a nicer bear. So we'll get into that.
It's the baby bear. That's why, right? I mean, that's where the Bruin came from, baby bear, because Cal was the original UC and they were the Bears, and UCLA was, you know, meant to be the satellite campus of Berkeley at the start, and so it's the baby bear. That's why it's Bruin.
So now they're disrespected by Cal for their eternity of the name of the school. That's what we're getting at. So, but let's move forward. Let's get into this game. I'll start with
the game.
Yeah, there is actually a game. I'll start with Ryan. Ryan, what are you expecting to see this weekend out of this game?
I mean, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, I threw all expectations out the window, which has made it much more enjoyable. I think this is gonna be a fun game. I mean, it's one really good defense against one really good offense, and what of the lesser of two parts makes a play, right? Is it going to be UCLA's offense makes a play, or is it going to be USC's defense that makes a play? Because the real, obviously, catalyst or the real great matchup is USC's offense for UCLA's defense, and that's going to be, I think, a back and forth chess match the whole game of who can make what happen. But it's going to come down to is on those other sides, who's going to make the one play that matters, whether it's a turnover on the USC defense, whether it's a big explosive running play, which is probably more likely of UCLA But I think it's going to be fun. I hope that the Colley's packed. I know they said it was sold out a while ago, but I know since they sold out, or since it said sold out, then both teams have lost like combined 4 games since then. So hopefully people still show up and have a good time. Should be, a good time. So I'm looking forward to seeing these two teams play still, regardless of what the outcome is. I think it should be fun. Yeah, we'll see.
BP, y'all play on Saturday or y'all play Friday night?
Play Saturday at 1:00
Eastern time.
I know. So we play it. The game is at 3:30 your time. So like you guys will like about to watch it on your phone as you're shaking hands. Like good game. But what do you expect? What are you expecting out of this game this weekend, BP?
We become bowl eligible. We beat the piss out of the Trojans. Can we say that on podcast? But
no, we're good now. You can say whatever.
We're
radio.
off the radio now. So BP, you can let it fly.
Yeah, I just feel like we're gonna win. Just because I'm biased, but like I said earlier off the camera, I just like watching good football and just the respect of the game, and I watch more college football than NFL football because of the passion and guys are trying to prove that they are the best and want to be the best. And UCLA's freshman quarterback, he's from Detroit, so I'm kind of rooting for him because it's my second home now. So, I think he's do his thing.
Is he healthy? Do they know who's playing? Who's starting?
They don't. Yeah, he could play. One of 4 quarterbacks could play on Saturday, so we'll see.
Jamal, what do you want to see?
I think BP said it really well when he said respect for football and respect for the game. To me, this is kind of a culture game. And which team has more respect for their culture and for the sport itself? Because if you look at SC side, the one thing Lincoln has been preaching the last couple of weeks, even after the Notre Dame loss and the Utah loss, is, hey, this team has an opportunity to still do something really special in terms of kind of backdoor their way into the Pac-12 championship game. So now that's off the table. That's not there anymore. And so where is the motivation going to come from with this group now that he can't kind of sell them on that? So how are they going to be motivated in this particular game? 4 of 5 losses, this last game of the season. Are they just going to want to kind of crawl to the finish line and get ready for the offseason, get ready to figure out who the new DC is and sort of move Caleb, get ready for the NFL and move on? Or do they really want to, sort of put together a really comprehensive effort? And then similarly on UCLA's side, all the conversation around Chip possibly getting fired. 4 different quarterbacks could start on Saturday. They've seemed to have sort of tuned Chip out a little bit the last couple of weeks. So where is their level of engagement? Where's their passion? Where's their level of respect for culture and the sport? So whoever can, I think, get enough energy for this game, I think is probably going to come out on top. Again, it's going to be so fascinating to see, because if they're both engaged, to see that UCLA front 7 go up against Caleb Williams might be one of the most underrated matchups in the entire Pac-12 season. If they're both on their A game, that side of the ball, I think, is going to see more compelling football than even what you saw with USC Washington and what you saw USC Oregon, USC Utah. I think the matchup is just so well there. But the question is, can either team kind of bring their A game? Do they have enough energy and focus and commitment to be able to do so? And then on the other side, as Ryan talked about, I think it's going to be pure entertainment and humor. The team that can't stop anybody against the team that can't score. I mean, so something's got to give there, And so you've got compelling football on one side, and then you've got entertaining football and sort of comedic football on the other side. So this could be an incredible game if they both bring it. And so I'm just hoping they both bring it.
That's a great point.
So Mrs. Price, the fan favorite, the floor is yours.
Yeah, this isn't going to be popular. There's going to get a lot of comments. I'm not sad if USC loses. I kind of feel like our guys the other day, they haven't lost in 35 games. And I asked them what motivates them. And it was the last game they lost 35 games ago. And that was like, we won't lose. We can't lose. We want another ring. And the loss, he was like at Churchill. People had COVID. The game was this. Like Jeremiah Beasley, he's on his way to Michigan. He could paint, sorry, that's Bruin. He could paint the picture of what that loss felt like. And that has motivated him to put this team on his back, as well as some, other great players. But when I say that USC, like, we're filled with phony Trojans, we got 22 transfers, we got a coach and a QB that, like, on it, let's just be real, like, they're bought into winning on the overall picture, but they're not bought into winning for USC, and that's very evident. So I do agree with your point, Jamal. If they come out there and bring the energy and put it together, it could be great. But I also feel like if they lose, then this is the turning point for somebody that, like I said, Bo Schembechler, those that stay will be champions. So those that say this point going forward, what offseason training looks like, what the recruiting looks like, what are our expectations for our players, will set that standard. And also, hey, Chip did the best he could. If he walk away with a dub and be done with it, cool. I'm not feeling as like, oh, we got to take this down. I don't really know if USC deserves the win, to be fair. UCLA works 10 times harder than a lot of other schools to have to put things together. There are guys that are from Eastern Michigan, small schools that would never get a chance to play at a UCLA. And if they take down the USC Trojans this year, will be the only time that they'll get to do it, because we'll have it figured out next. So I know that might not be as popular, but if they don't walk away with the win, I'm not going to be too sad.
Quarterback Hollywood.
Yeah. So was that not popular? They'll be in the comments. Slide up in it.
I think the more least popular things you say, the more popular you get. So I think you're fine.
Keep it coming. So Saturday is weird, right? Saturday is weird. It's kind of like, I guess you could say, a bizarro world, right? You have a really bad defense playing a really bad offense, and then you have a really good defense playing against a really good offense, right? So you're getting both worlds on the field at the same time. So when you say, like, and I know I asked the question, and this one of the questions you have to ask, like, what do you expect? Like, for me, it's like, I don't know, because the thing that worries me about it, say UCLA doesn't score, or say they score 10 points, which is a possibility depending on the quarterback situation and what they do on offense and how they feel about it, right? So say UCLA does score with 10 points. Next thing you know is, USC defense finally is clicking. They finally figured it out. We're ready to go to the bowl game, which is not true because they're playing offense against a four-string quarterback, right? But then again, on the flip side, that four-string quarterback could come out and throw for 400 yards on Saturday afternoon, because USC has given players who have not done anything all year an opportunity to be great, right? So, and that's since last year, right? They got Utah's tight end drafted first round. We found out about Arizona's quarterback. Scatterbo came out against USC. The pig farmer came out against USC. So, like, the receiver from Colorado, USC. Like, you find out about everybody against USC, but it's not a realization.
You want to ask?
Let the whole hood hit.
You want to ask Bruin his expectations for the game?
Hold on, real quick. So then you get into this thing, and Jamal, we talked about it on Sunday, and we talked about it a couple of times. The culture between both schools, right? And the reality of the culture between both schools is UCLA's defense coordinator was fired. The defense was bad. The players were against the defense, but when you see, I say UCLA, I'm sorry, USC, they got their DC fired, everything. But when you see USC's players actually playing, they're playing with heart. They're playing with effort. Like they playing like they still have a chip on their shoulder. And then you talk about the UCLA game last week where UCLA just cashed it in. It looked like their players quit. They gave up. Now, what are you going to get that's going to be carryover? Are you still going to get that USC team? We're not going to show you that we're bad, and we're going to play our ass off, and we're going to play as hard as we can, right? And then are you going to have a UCLA team like, we don't want to play for Chip. We're ready to get into the portal. We don't care about this game, right? And that's the situation that's at hand. Like, we have a dismay locker room, and then we have a locker room like, we're just trying to prove that we're good. Even though we're not, we still want to prove to you guys that we're good, right? So if you get that, you're going to get a very large USC victory, right? But if you get a UCLA team that's brought into the rivalry, then it might be closer than people expect, right? And so, or it might be a normal USC game where next thing you know, you look up, it's 45 35. UCLA's running out the Coliseum with a victory, and Chip is like, well, hold on. Maybe you guys can save my job for a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? So this game is legit a flip of the coin. Like 6 points, 6 point spread. I don't think it's a 6 point spread. I think it's a pick 'em. You know, like if you ask me, if I'm the odds maker, this is an even game. Like
because you don't know, Fred, who's going to show up. And the way I've sort of thought of it is, I honestly think if both teams bring their A game, if they both sort of say, hey, we're both kind of A game, I think UCLA is actually the better team. Because when you look at the three things that it takes to kind of beat USC, really, front seven, elite play, the ability to run the ball in short yardage and have kind of, timely quarterback play. The A game version of that for UCLA is a super engaged top 10 defense, a top 13 running game nationally, and a quarterback in Ethan Garbers who's a really good game manager. And if they bring that, I think they have the recipe to beat USC. But the probability that UCLA brings their A game, given everything that's going on with Chip and, the locker room and all this, is much, much lower than the probability that USC brings their A game. And so that's kind of how I think about this game. If they both bring their A game, I actually think UCLA walks out of there with a victory. But the chances of UCLA bringing their A game are very, very low.
Yeah, and that's the issue that we're coming. That's why I pointed that issue out. Like, so are you still going to get a UCLA team that's like, we don't want to play for you, Chip, so we have to do this because it's a scholarship requirement, but this is our last two games and we're in the portal and we're shooting you the twos and we're out of here? Or are you going to get a UCLA team that's like, nah, this is a rivalry, like, we're better than them dudes. I don't care what you say, like, let me show you. You get that, we get a better game. You get the latter, you're looking at a blowout. Like, in reality, like, you're legit looking at a blowout because they don't want to be there. So, but the problem is, now you're risking injury because now you're just on the field just to be on the field. And that's when people start to get hurt, right? You get careless play. That's when injuries come along. So I hope for the sake of the rivalry, these dudes are just like, hey, man, like, we don't care about Chip. We care about beating USC. Like, we didn't do, like, the drum line. We didn't do it for you. We did it for the A&T, right? Like, we didn't do it for you, Chip. I don't care. We hope you're gone. We're doing this for UCLA. We're doing this for our pride for UCLA because we're trying to bring the bell home, right? So
Fred is also alluding to the fact that this game could be so bad that halftime is game time, so based on the drum line.
Yeah, so
I don't think guys would be negative about it. Like, oh, we're not going to play for you, Chip. Because you still, if they have plans on going to the portal, what you put on film matters. You know what I mean? Like, and you still got to have pride, like, to get a scholarship and all that. Like, you show some type of character and discipline and appreciation to the game. And I feel like no matter even if it's not their A game, if both of them match up on a C game, it'll still be a good game. You know what I mean? Right. Like hopefully not F game and it's just turnovers all damn day. But if it's better than that, no turnovers, I think it'll be an even match and it should be well. You know what I mean? Like, but they both talented. You want a leader at quarterback and somebody that know what they're doing, but whatever. But Caleb is overrated to me, but it's Hollywood, nail polish and all that shit. But
the nail polish has actually been gone for like a month. They made him take his nail polish off.
Maybe he should bring it back then. Y'all probably can. He probably was doing a good look then. I don't know, man. He fell in love with Hollywood, dog. Holly weird. That's why I moved far away. I'm out here, man. You know what I mean?
Well, it is an interesting point that BP makes up is what is the mindset of Caleb going to be? This is the last game, of his USC career. I think we've talked a lot about, how committed is he to USC? Is this going to be a game that really means a ton to him? I know he's had some interviews during the week, but does he sort of put a stamp on his Trojan career? Or is this more, hey, I want to kind of go out there, run a couple of drives. Lincoln maybe pulls him in the second quarter to an ovation. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see his mindset on Saturday and how much this means to him.
Damn, the second quarter, Jamal?
That gives me I was just trying to confirm it, but like Joe Burrow vibes, played at Ohio State, but won at LSU. Like, I just am not convinced. I feel like we'll take his Heisman, we'll check in and we'll say, we'll add it to our numbers, but there's just something about him. Like, I mean, and I don't know if that's him at Oklahoma, if that's just him, who he is wherever, but at USC, that USC Trojan thing, like, I think we just take that Heisman. I don't think we talk about Caleb, maybe great numbers, but when you talk about Matt and we talk about Reggie and when you talk about these other Heisman greats, you talk about their character, as Brian said. You talk about the presence that they bring when they come back to a sideline. His poor behavior on the sideline does not have me interested in have him coming back to a sideline years later to be, you know,
he ain't
with
invested,
that culture.
you know, he's not invested like that.
So I will say this about Joe Burrow, and this is where
I didn't even take it there.
Yeah, no, but this is where I do this is where I do think the portal is beneficial for college students, right? Joe Burrow is actually a great example. There's no way Joe Burrow is going to start over Justin Fields. Wasn't going to happen, right? Like, he got lost in the wash. So am I just going to sit here and just ride the pine and hope to get drafted, or do I try to get a chance at someplace else and enter the portal, get a chance at someplace else? And he was successful. So, like, if you do get a gym like that, and this is for you, Candace, and hopefully you accept it, you know, but if you do get a gym like that comes to SC, like, look, man, I got lost in the wash. Like, I wasn't very, like, the dude in front of me was better than me. It is what it is. But then all of a sudden he comes to SC, and you're like, oh, dang, so the dude must have been way better than you because you're just as good, right? Like, in the girl's case, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like if you get lost in the wash, I'm all for the portal. But if you're like, I'm mad because the coach keeps screaming at me because I don't know how to fit the B gap, and you go get in the portal, no matter what school you go to, you're still not going to fit the B gap. And guess what? That coach is going to get mad at you too. It's not going to change the way you play or who you are as a player. Like, you're just not like that. Yeah. And the portal
I think one good example, like, I mean, there's a lot, but I think one that we've talked about before, but not for a while. Like, to me, Marshawn Lloyd is a great example of portal, and he like wanted to come to SC. Like, he's from day one said like he came here because he went to high school with Caleb, so he knew Caleb, so he came for Caleb, but he bought into SC. He loves, you know, the culture, and maybe it's all talk. Who knows? I'm not sitting with him in his living room, but by everything he does, by the way he plays, like, he's a guy that truly embodies, I think, a Trojan in a short period of time. But I think that's a good example of someone that followed someone over that he knew, wanted to come here, and then bought into kind of what the history of this place is.
Agree.
Yeah, that's a good.
VP's in a roll on us.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hey, fight on. Fight on. Fight on, VP.
Drive safe, VP. You're the best.
So, I mean, that's a perfect example of the rivalry right there, right? You got the house divided, and Jamal says they're 12 miles apart, but they're really an hour away from each other.
Right.
It depends on the time of day. You know, it depends on the time of day. You know, you can get from USC to UCLA in like 15 minutes. You know, depending on the time of day.
Yeah,
if it's
when you get
in the morning or midnight, you know,
you get to UCLA, you get there. You get there that fast after you leave the club in Hollywood, or if you're over there for the undie run after you leave, and it's 2:00. Yeah, you're there with no problem. But if you're going in the middle of the day, it's about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
When 12 miles, an hour and a half. That's ridiculous.
I don't want to say it like this, but I want the Trojans of 2024, 2025 to be like, we got beat by UCLA. They know that they have to wait an entire season to play them again. An entire season. So the games leading up to that motivation, that mindset, I like, again, I'm not wishing that on any player, but I do know what it's like to lose. I know what it's like to be a USA champion runner-up. I know what it's like to be an NCAA runner-up, and what that did to propel my training, my professional career, and my mindset changed it just by being a runner-up. Like Ricky Bobby said, if you're not first, you last.
Well, you know, Candace, go for it, Ren. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. I'll go after you.
No, I was saying, you know, the similar analogy there, Candace, is the 2022 game, right? The game last year, because 21 was DTR kind of going crazy at the Coliseum. I mean, he's kind of doing the hurdling. He's signing autographs. I mean, he's literally signing autographs. SC kids are coming down. He's signing SC hats in the game, you know? I mean, you know, you can go back and look at the tape. And so when you sort of have that kind of sit with you for a year, you want to kind of come back the following year and respond. Absolutely. But what was interesting is that SC won the game last year, but you didn't get that feeling that it was in response to 21. It just felt like such a different team. They were like, well, I wasn't here in 21, so I can't speak to that. This is sort of its own game. And I think that's, to your point, Candace, I think you have to be able to build continuity on your roster. And I think you've said it over the course of this season. Fred has certainly said it in terms of how he would build a team in terms of kind of the 60-40, the 70-30 when it came to transfer portal and high school guys. But I think you need to have that right mix between, high school guys and the transfer portal. Because if it's all transfer portal, you're really not going to get much carryover year over year, and you're not going to be able to sort of build that culture that you want.
No, that's 100% agree. And the issue with this is, oh man, our Sooner fans are going to kill me. There's no culture at Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Like there isn't though. There's no culture at Oklahoma. Like when you really think about it, right? And when I say there's no culture at Oklahoma, this is what I mean by there's no culture at Oklahoma. And our Sooner fans are going to just get after me in the comments, and I'm all here for it. When you really think of USC, right? You think of the Coliseum, O.J. Simpson. You know what I mean? Like, and then when you go to Oklahoma, you're like Barry Switzer. You get what I'm saying? Like it's like Barry Switzer. You have Jamil Holiday,
Boz, baby, the Boz.
Okay, the Boz.
Wilkinson. I mean, I don't know, Fred. That's a little harsh. I think
that
really,
Oklahoma. It's not really harsh. Okay, so let me ask you this question. Let me really okay. So when you really think about it, right? Like when Texas went to the SEC, they brought Oklahoma with them. Mm-hmm. When USC went to the Big Ten, they brought UCLA with them. It's kind of like the same thing. Like Oklahoma. And they hate to, as much as they will hate to hear this, Oklahoma's always going to be in the shadow of Texas.
But that's also just a function of Texas having more money. There's a difference between money and culture, right? Texas can have more money than OU, but that doesn't mean OU doesn't have tremendous culture. I think OU has got very rich history in football. Bud Wilkinson, Switzer, Boz. Look at all the Heisman winners they've had. They're very comparable in terms of accomplishments to USC. So I wouldn't go that far. I think there's a difference between
I'm going
money
that
and
far
culture.
because they had to see us in the Orange Bowl that year, and they saw what happened to them. So I'm going that far. But I'm just saying, like, when I don't know, and you're right, I could be wrong, but that's just how I see it. Like when you really think about it, like when you think of big logo, you instantly go, oh, USC, Texas, Michigan, Ohio State. Then you go, oh, Penn State, Miami, right? Oklahoma doesn't pop in your mind as a big logo. You get what I'm saying? Like when you think.
Yeah, I think also, Fred, I'll be very honest with you. I think both USC and Texas, they think they're a big logo. I don't know how big the logo is right now, given the performance. I think USC and Texas are very close together in that regard. An article is going to come out on this later. You always talk, Fred, about USC. If they don't be careful, they're going to become the Penn State of the West.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? USC is already the Penn State of the West. USC has been the Penn State of the West for 15 years. If you put up Penn State's wins and losses, and you put up USC's wins and losses since 2009, Penn State has outperformed USC. Penn State has won Big Ten championship. USC has won Pac-12 championship. Penn State has won Rose Bowl. USC has won Rose Bowl. Penn State has 2 other New Year's 6 wins. USC has 0 other New Year's 6 wins. So the reality is that Penn State has outperformed USC the last 15 years. Everything we're talking about when we say Matt and Reggie and OJ, think about the years now. OJ was in the 60s. Okay. Yep. Mike Garrett, John Robinson, John McKay, that was 1978. Matt and Reggie, 2003, 2004. Guess what? This is 2024 next year. It's been 20 years.
Eric Dickerson and SMU. Like, that's how I feel when I wear my USC stuff. Like, Eric Dickerson, that seems forever.
Exactly.
But if you just watch it on Netflix, you're like, dang.
Sure. Eric Dickerson is an exception because they pretty much got shut down for years. And now they're just opening back up, and they're just now recovering from that. So SMU maybe have a chance because they have a lot of money. They have a whole bunch of money. But Jamal, so when I say big logo, though, when I say, and maybe they do show Oklahoma, like, but when you watch like college commercials, they only show those particular schools every single time. Like, no matter
because
what
they
it
have
is.
a lot of money. I mean, there's a lot of money and glamour. Dallas is a very glamorous city. LA is a very glamorous city. You know, Austin's a very become a very glamorous city. Southern California is so glamorous. So there's glamour, and that's where there's a lot of hype. But when it comes to sort of on-field performance, look, outside of this year with Sark, Texas's last great year is 2009. I mean, you know, they've been out of bowl games. They've, you know, non-bowl eligible. They haven't really done anything. So USC people still think this is a huge logo, and Texas people still think it's a huge logo. But I think it goes back to the larger issue. How much longer can USC just live off of reputation? And at some point, they're going to have to start winning some big games here, you know, and you know, it's been 15 years. A couple more years, you can live off reputation. After that, it's going to be really hard. And all kind of the conversations.
Jamal, I don't think there's a couple more years. I think that reputation has it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
Like,
what did you say in the live? What did you say in the live?
I'm saying that I appreciate you trying to stretch it out, but the fact that I am in it with 5-star recruits and they're looking at me like USC what? Who is And I'm baffled by it. So yes, they need to take this L. They need to take it on the chin, and that needs to be their motivation going for next. And those who stay will be champions. But
so Jamal, what did you say on the live with Alex Grinch? She was like, they have to get it right, or they're running out of time. Right?
They got to get it right. They got to get it right.
I remember I said they're running out of time and they need to do it. And you said a very good line that relates to this. And I don't disagree with you, but you said something that was really good. Like, if their window is closing.
Yeah.
Their window is closing on them. Like, this is like right now, like they have like a crack in the seal and they're getting a small little breeze to cool the pies. Right. And so if they don't, like their window is really closing. And so like, I'm in agreement with you on this. Like, it's low key running out of time. You know what I mean? Like, my 10-year-old only knows about USC because I went to USC. You know what I mean? But if you ask most kids, they're like Oregon. I'm like, absolutely. Oregon? Why do you want to go to Oregon? They don't win anything. Like,
and the one thing, Fred, I will say is, you know, earlier in the season, I had a chance to talk with a couple of Big Ten officials and at one of the games. And one of the questions I asked them was, what is a rivalry that you see? You know, what's a rivalry you're trying to develop that maybe hasn't happened yet with these 4 schools coming in? And without question, they said, we want it to be USC and Penn State. Because they said that, look, Ohio State, Michigan are the 2 crown jewels of this conference. We don't want anyone touching that. Everyone's going to kind of everyone gets up for Ohio State. Everyone gets up for Michigan. Penn State's our 3rd school, and they don't have a rival. And we want USC and Penn State to become a rival. You know, and that's why they've scheduled it for the next 5 years. So think about that mindset, too. They're not putting USC on the top line. They're putting USC on the next line. Yeah. Okay, so USC's got work to do to get back to that top line. They got to get this right. This is now going to be year 3 of Lincoln. The great coaches win in year 3. Okay, period. You can go back and look in the history of this sport. So if he can't put it together year 3, he's not a great coach. It's just that simple.
So Penn State of the West it is. Definitely. Let's go around the horn.
I know we got to wrap it up, but LA fans, like, why so fickle? Like we're talking about that the stadium was sold out, but now that both teams are subpar, it won't be a packed Coliseum.
It's just LA.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's up?
And you know what else? You know what else is going to happen?
It drives me crazy. I've lived here 15 years. It drives me crazy. Because in Denver, it ain't like that.
Miami has the same problem too. Jamal, here you go. Let's go to our local historian, and then we'll go around and we'll get score predictions. When was the last time it rained in the Victory Bell game?
2 years ago.
Oh, damn! I was hoping a longer time. That's
the DTR game. I don't think it rained that game.
It was damp. It was damp.
No, it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to rain.
Oh, is it?
It was damp. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't pouring, but I mean, it was drizzling.
No, this is going to be rain. It's supposed to be rain on Saturday.
So LA people are definitely not coming to see 2 teams.
They're not coming.
No, I mean, if it's going to rain, and people can't drive in LA if it rains, no one's going to show up.
ABC is going to pan to the same fan section the entire game. Then.
Yeah.
They're going to fill up the TV seats purposely, like the TV seats where the camera's always on the sideline. They're going to fill those up perfectly. All right, let's go around the horn. Ryan, let me get a score prediction this weekend.
I'm going to say USC is going to somehow keep UCLA under 400 total yards, but 350 of those yards are on the ground. So under 50 yards passing. We're going bold. USC, though, does get the win. I'll go 33-27.
Candace, score?
I'll take that score, but I take UCLA on top.
God dang, you're done. She's fired. There's a show on LAFB called The Bruin Bible if you want to go join it. They would love to have you. Just don't take our fans.
In about 16 years, I'll be the guest. I'll be the special guest in about 16 years.
Jamal, can I get a score?
Yeah, this is so hard. I mean, I could see UCLA eke this out. I could see USC eke this out. I could see USC win by 30. The only scenario I can't see is UCLA win by 30. That's the only one. Everything else is sort of on the table. So, man, this is going to be tough. I think they're just UCLA is going to turn around and just hand the ball off every play. And depending on so I totally agree with Ryan. This is going to be kind of run heavy. And everything I've seen out of USC's defense, I don't know if they're going to be able to do very much with that. I think UCLA is going to kind of chew the clock, run the ball. It's going to be very similar to Utah in that regard. I think it'll probably be UCLA 31-27.
14-21 USC.
Oh, wow.
The UCLA is going to eat a bunch of clock, and Caleb's not going to get a lot of opportunities. And then, like you said, apparently Caleb's going to get pulled up into the second quarter. So
I'm just saying that could happen, you know?
I'm
just saying it could be third quarter, it could be fourth quarter, but there's probably going to be a curtain call. I'm picking curtain call.
If you guys want to cover the 6, you can go to betonline.ag and go play that game. Betonline.ag has all your up-to-date lines, wagers, stats, and you can put together a parlay. UCLA's 6-point favorite. You go to you put in promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV. You receive a 50-cent welcome bonus, so you can even double that up. That is betonline.ag where the game starts. If you think Caleb's going to play a full game, you can also go to Underdog Fantasy. You can put over-under, add Marshawn under there, put over-under on his yards. You can even add, what's your guy's name, the running back at the other school, Jamal?
Carson Steele.
Carson Steele, you can add him over-under. You go there, you put in USC LAFB, and we will give you a $100 match. It's underdogfantasy.com or any app, Google Play or App Store. So, Victory Bell. Hopefully we bring the Victory Bell back. It'll be fun to see. I just want to end it on this note.
We can't hear anything, Fred.
Oh, that's so disappointing. It's tough.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's disappointing. It's tough where it says UCLA sucks.
Oh.
That's so disappointing.
Fred, the fight song hasn't worked for Fred, and he also wore, Bruin blue yesterday. Classic baby blue.
We will not talk about that.
I'm muting you, Jamal. I'm muting you. How's the smoke detectors working out for you?
I think it stopped. Thank God.
Oh, there we go. Hey guys, we appreciate you. Hopefully, we will be back for a Victory Sunday and Candace.
Final one of the season.
Yeah, final. No, it's not. We have a bowl game.
Well, bowl game. Yeah.
Jeez,
but it might be
Ryan?
bowl game. Bowl game might be like Victory Tuesday. Like we don't know. Bowl games always on random days.
Be sort of Wednesday in El Paso. Tuesday. San Diego.
Where do you have to place to be in the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl?
6th in the Pac-12.
So the loser of this game is in a great shape for the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
Yeah.
Where do you?
Well, now it's the Gronk Bowl. It's not the Jimmy Kimmel
Bowl.
It's the Gronk Bowl.
So you have to be in third place to go to San Diego, right?
No, third. I think this year, third place is going to be Alamo because I think you're going to get a team in the playoff and you're going to get a team in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Third will be Alamo.
So we don't know if it's better to win this game and take the sorry ball or to lose this game. And
no. I was just trying to see if we could. No.
That's where we're at. That's where we're at. That's our reality. This is our intervention. That's not where we're at. The reason why I was asking was to see if we would be able to do something if they do end up in one of those bowl games.
That's all I was asking. That's the only reason why I was asking. I wasn't trying to get into one of those bad games. So if we do end up in the LA game, hopefully we can set something up. We could go to the LA game. But San Diego doesn't even have it anymore, do they? Are they still doing the Holiday Bowl?
I think so.
I know they were in some weird litigation or something like that. So neither here nor there. They do. They do. Let's set something up. But guys, I appreciate you. It's always been fun. Candace, I'm sorry I ran over time. Jamal, I'm sorry I ran over time.
No
Things
worries.
just don't go your way sometimes at work, but I appreciate you guys waiting for me. Fans, I appreciate you guys for coming in and hanging out with us for another Salute to Troy. This has been the Bet Online Salute to Troy podcast. You guys know how it goes. Live free, fight on.